All right, all right, all right. Let's do this. Let's get this thing started. Right? It's somewhere over here. It's one of these buttons. It does it. Hey there, friends. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it might be in your part of the world.
Greetings, my excellent friend.
It's so good to see you. My name is Jeff Fritz, and today it's a new year. Today is January 2nd, 2025. We're going to write a little bit of code today. How are you doing there, chat room? It's been a few days. Um, Go ahead, try it. Yeah, see, this is what we want to address. We want to do a little bit more with. Say no, still can't find it. Let me head over and greet the chat room here. We're broadcasting live on Twitch and YouTube. If you're watching us on either platform, you're going to see the Restream bot posting messages back and forth between the two channels so that everybody everywhere can jump in and be a part of the stream. It's so good to see you. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Let me finish getting, there we go. Let me finish getting YouTube set up so I can monitor what's going on over there. And let me say hello to some of our friends that are here. Surly Dev, hello to you. Napalm, happy 2025. Froes Noyes, hey, happy new year to you too, Surly Dev. Mythin, good to see you. Hello, happy new year to you as well. You have some German guests staying with you, Surly? Yeah. I speak a very, very small amount of German. I can recognize a little bit, and I know when something's going wrong so that I don't get into trouble while I'm traveling. CTI Geek, happy new year to you in Virginia. Expanded Cuber, how's it going there? Merry New Year to you, Reg9K. Yeah, Merry New Year from Trading Places. Yes. Svetkos, hello to you. Let me see here, continuing down there. How's it going there? Maratea77, happy new year to you. So, a couple things happened over the last few days. I was, and you can still hear it a little bit in me. I've been fighting a cold, trying to prevent it from getting backed up and getting worse here. So I've been dealing with that. And my school, my college football team played their playoff game on, what was it, Tuesday? And did very well, winning their game and advancing now to the semifinals of the college football national championship knockout tournament here in the States. There's a lot of criticism around the tournament format and qualification and who should be eligible, who shouldn't be eligible, how clubs should be selected for the various rankings and seeded in that tournament. The way it is this year, they're in the semifinals, and we're waiting. We'll find out later today who they're playing. I'm going to get some music playing in the background here. We'll talk more. This is the Stream Beats Synthwave playlist. This is music that is DMCA free, royalty free. Listen to it wherever you would like. Let's start down here. This is called Sunset Boulevard. This is just some groovy music to have in the background to kind of fill in the white space, the empty space, while we're talking and having a good time here. Thank you so much to Harris Heller and his team of creators for this music we're listening to today. Let me catch up with a couple folks there in the chat. M Rocks Forever, how you doing there? Happy New Year to you. Billy Cool, how's it going there? Hop in the cloud. Surly Dev says, I know all the best German words. Some you can't use in Twitch chat. Yeah. That's a yes. Okay, you're going to be ordering coffee, black coffee. Very good. VVG Online, hello. Digital Dummy. Yeah, so we had a pretty good New Year. And certainly seeing Penn State win on New Year's Eve was very, very exciting. Unfortunately, watching Ohio State win yesterday. Smirking Squiggly with the resub.
_Squiggly just resubscribed. For 21 months, in 2025, as we strive to make all our software come alive, with new features in sight, may our code be just right, and our bugs take a long-lasting dive.
Yes. Thank you, Smirking Squiggly. Appreciate the support. So yesterday, unfortunately, watching Ohio State, one of our big rivals, win. Okay. They're on the other side of the tournament bracket here, so it's going to be a while till we see them. We won't see them until the championship. Amazing game yesterday between Texas and Arizona State. I thought Arizona State was going to pull that off, but Texas held on to win. And we have to wait till this evening to see who Penn State plays between Georgia and Notre Dame. Like, either one of those schools is going to be a pretty good match for Penn State. It's going to be great. How you doing there, Dr. Cox? January 2nd, and Fritz is sober? Yes, I'm sober. Why wouldn't I be? Absolutely. I'm what we like to call a professional. You killed 2 moths last night. Does that count as bugs? Well, the first bug was a moth, so the first bug in computer programming was a moth. So, yes. Ohio State, Penn State in the final would be mind-blowing and worrisome. I agree the whole way around. And hopefully, like we saw yesterday with Ohio State figured out Oregon and throttled them, maybe Penn State figured out Ohio State and a similar revenge match would occur. But we'll see. There was a comment there. Any tech predictions for 2025? Where'd that go? Somebody asked that. Land of the Leet. How you doing there? Asking any tech predictions for 2025. I think we're going to see more and more of these little AI apps spring up. But I also think we're going to start to see some consolidation. I think we're going to start to see some of them get pulled together into standalone suites of AI products that folks are using and able to have work together a little bit. Lots of AI, yes, absolutely. How you doing there, Jay? Happy New Year to you. I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see the web become more and more AI generated, more and more fake, and that we're going to see more challenges around detecting what's real and what's not. Fighting disinformation has been a difficult problem for almost 10 years now. It was a hard problem before that, but it's a really difficult problem. And I think there's more folks using AI in their reach to spread disinformation. And that we need to figure out a way to perhaps stand up our own AI detection plugins and for browsers and whatnot to help folks combat and be told whether something is truthful or disinformation. I think there's a real problem there. I'm sure many of you saw family over the year-end holidays here, whether you celebrate Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus, whatever it might be that you celebrated here at the year-end, winter solstice, what have you. We gathered with family, and when you see some of the older folks and how they interact with their phone because they're trying to stay connected with family, they're trying to keep up with news, the convenience of having weather and news and things right there in their hand, in their pocket, and not to mention the emergency medical access that they can get by having a phone right on them in their pocket, in their handbag, is very convenient for the older generation. However, they are prime targets for the disinformation and the scams out there. And I'm sure some of you out there saw your parents, grandparents over the year-end holidays here, and you've probably seen how easy it is that they fall for Temu scams, Wish.com ads, all kinds of stuff that's flowing into their email boxes that they're clicking on and they have no idea about. I think it's going to be in our best interest to try and help these folks who aren't internet street smart to be able to cut through the disinformation, the scams, and be safer. I think there's an AI opportunity for good to detect and make folks aware. Hang on, this isn't a trustworthy thing. Educating your parents about scams and CTI Geek. To that point, is there a way for us to inject a browser plugin, an email service that will take whatever it is that person is looking at and analyze it and say, wait a sec, this isn't very trustworthy. So I think there's opportunities for that, and I think we're going to tragically see more and more folks have problems with that because of the rise in this disinformation. I'm looking forward to seeing VR, AR become more and more accessible, easier for folks to use. The Visor device, we're supposed to see the first deliveries here in January. So I'm expecting it hopefully by February. The first deliveries, they're going by the order they were ordered. The first deliveries should arrive in January. I'm hoping I get mine late January, February. We'll see. We will see. But they've done some great things with the immersed software. There's now a native browser inside of it, so that you don't even need to connect to a PC. You can connect to a phone or to a service out on the web somewhere, right? A VM that's running on the cloud, and use that. You don't need a physical machine to connect to. That's pretty impressive. So there's more happening there. Is that a good thing? Is the AI rise of more AI things and consolidation of them a good thing? Yes, I think so, because then we'll have some more trustworthy organizations and services. We'll have some less trustworthy ones that hopefully will fall by the wayside. Hey, Maritea, do I have statistics on the number of companies using Angular with ASP.NET? No, I do not. And if I did, I cannot share them. And every second startup has AI in its name. That's where the angel investors want to spend their money. Tech companies go where and build where the angel investors are going to pay them to. And right now, angel investors don't want a new website. Angel investors don't want a new social media thing, right? The joke in the Silicon Valley series was, right, social, mobile, and local, right? SOMO-LO. Well, no, we're local, social, and mobile. We are low-mo-so. Like, and there were various iterations of that all of these companies were pitching in the Silicon Valley series. None of those things matter right now. AI is the interesting thing. So, educate your parents about scams. Yes. How you doing there, MDS Ubuntu? Lane to the Elite says, I agree. Hopefully AI gets cleaned up so data is not only accurate, but true. And hopefully becomes more advanced and accessible locally offline. Totally agree. Totally agree. And the challenge with running things offline is the models are huge. I like to play Overwatch. Overwatch is a 10, 20 gig download, right? And I'm playing, and I could play that game for hours. The average person isn't going to wait for a 7 to 10 gig model to download to run on their machine. There's lots of assumptions there that are made in order to have that. It's not a large language model, but it's a good size. It's a medium-sized language model to be able to interact with and get some decent results out. The Phi language model has some capabilities that you can do that are decent size, under a gig, but you're still downloading almost a gig of data. There's some we're once again going to run into this challenge of the privilege of having enough bandwidth and speed to be able to download and bring that down locally. For some folks, it'll take a few seconds, a few minutes to bring that down. But for other folks in other parts of the world, it might take hours or even days. That's not as accessible as going into a Copilot Bing.com prompt or a chat OpenAI prompt and just interacting with that there, or starting up a service and interacting with it. And I want to spend some time as we get started with our code today, showing you a little bit of the interactions that I was doing with the OpenAI deployment that we put together last time, and the hat detection bot, because it started getting really interesting. And if you saw my post in Discord, not only did it get interesting, we got some really good responses coming back. So I threw a bunch of hat records at it, and a couple dozen at it, and they all came back very, very accurate. And my cost for all that is still minimal, zero, less than a penny American. So looking at that, like, okay, what else can we do? So we'll talk more about that. How you doing, Asheroth? Hey, Asheroth, good to see you. UNESCO with a link to the Phi model. Where did it go? I just grabbed that. I did. So there's a Phi vision instruction. How big is it, and how do I bring that locally? Looks like it's more accurate in a bunch of stuff, but how big is it, and how do I bring it local? $500 billion tokens in this. Wow. Doesn't say file size here, the model size. 4.15 billion parameters. Yeah, it's 5 gig. No. It's more like 8 gig. I mean, something that I can download, but stuff worries you. Mean we're a trained group, but as we get older and eventually retire ourselves and things advance, some of the scams are getting very sophisticated and sneaky. Exactly. That's where I think there's an opportunity for some sort of an AI bit to combat it. AI generated ads these days with celebrities selling scams. Yes. Yep. The scam subreddit is a great resource for education. That feels like a good place to train an AI then, to help recognize some of them and provide a service there. Hey, Acid Vienna, hello. Happy New Year to you in Austria. You're hyped on AR for workstations. Some of the pioneer models have been out for a few years. I think it's starting to mature. Yeah, I think you're right. Yep, we're getting closer to consumer accessibility. Be Jekyll. Yes. Especially as the price comes down, right? When the price gets down to the point that a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox is about the same price. Now we're in that range, right? It's cheaper than a phone to give you that extra display. Do I think you're limiting yourself by not using AI tools like Copilot from progressing as a professional? Keep trying to use it for learning only, trying to program solo as much as possible. I don't think you're limiting yourself. But I think there's opportunities land to the lead to speed up your productivity by using Copilot. That's all. Hey, Eddie Dre, good to see you. Which Visual Studio extensions do I use? I had an answer there. Yeah, and man, that was the right. But the bot isn't wired up for that right now. I'm going to open the Hat AI code. I don't use very many extensions. And a lot of the features that are part of Visual Studio now are built and delivered as extensions, so they can be versioned and updated and improved as they need to be, separate from Visual Studio. I have the .NET Upgrade Assistant, better quotes, which I don't think we need anymore. Blazem extension. Let me put up the screen, Fritz. Better quotes, Blazem extension that helps with common Blazor tasks from Jimmy Engstrom. GitHub Actions. This hasn't seen any updates, and I think it needs some help. Inline suggestions. I don't know what this is. Live share, of course. Library manager for client-side libraries. A theme. Presenter mode, which I don't really use on this machine. I just zoom appropriately. I have Progress as software installed, so I have their extensions. Test adapters. Spell checker. Snapshot debugger comes with Visual Studio. Comes with, well, that's...
You have just resubscribed for 71 months.
Thank you so much. Xamarin templates, right? They came with it. Incompatible with Visual Studio, really? Oh, because it's now bundled in part of it. So these are now part of Visual Studio. They're no longer extensions. So thank you so much for the follows. Where was I? So those are some of the extensions that I use. Let me catch up here. Is there anything to inform Copilot about local code and or documentation for used packages? Copilot will look at your entire project and analyze it. When you're working in a file, it will also look at the other open windows and use those for context as well. You don't have to do other things to enable that. You can also tell Copilot to look at the rest of the workspace. And it will go find that, and it knows how to look at the packages inside of your C# project or other projects and reference those and look at how those are being used based on other GitHub code that uses those packages. So that's all kind of built in. Your client's looking forward to us using as much as possible the AI tools. Yeah, folks see the AI tools as ads are about to start in 10 seconds here. My apologies. There are folks that see the AI tools as a massive productivity bump, as a black box, just makes things better, and that's not the case. That's just not the case. It's another tool, like adding a database, like adding analysis services with OLAP, these types of things that you added in to provide other ways to analyze and work with data. AI is just another way to do that. You're really curious with the Hat AI project? You've had a friend ask for doing image rack for detecting Magic the Gathering cards. Eddie, it's really good at that. It's really good at that. There's a number of apps already on the iPhone store that do that. The one I use for my cards, that's right, I do have cards, is called Hell Vault, HEL Vault. Really good app that detects cards quite nicely. But getting it to detect the text and report back, you can then look that up in a database at that point. Really good stuff. So the ads are running right now on Twitch. That means pre-roll is going to be disabled for the rest of the hour. So anybody that joins Twitch won't see ads when they first join. Let me see here. You find it very useful as it becomes faster and easier to tackle? Yeah. How you doing there, Alu the Crow? Sometimes it reads your mind, yeah, a little bit. Hey, Mythin, Happy New Year. Copilot can do that, yes. When can we expect the first SharpSite hosting provider? Oh man, that's a great question, Mythin. It's gonna be a little bit. It's gonna be a little bit. Once we get it packaging and delivering containers, we can start looking at getting hosting running better. 1 minute on the ads here. Hey, PowerShell Freak, Happy New Year to you. You have a question on the Digma Defy. The Digma Defy, you mean this? How steep was the learning curve with no function keys or arrow keys? Do you have to relearn typing with 10 fingers, or is it just different? It's just different. Like, you can't look down and see the keys, right? The labels on the keyboard for the keys that you're looking for. So this yellow switch that I have here, this yellow key, when I hold it down, you see all of the top row turns this this lavender color. I don't know. Sure. Well, these are the function keys. Well, F1, F2, F3, F4, F5. Is that F6 or is that F6? This is F6, F7. Now F8, F9, F10, F11, F12 going across. So it can get confusing, right? So there is a little bit of relearning to do. However, after about a month of typing regularly on it, I think I'm pretty close to back to the speed that I was at. However, there are times where I will stumble, and that's why I show the keyboard on screen so that you can see when I stumble and I get back to it. Certainly having the enter keys here under my thumbs was a learning curve instead of having it over here under my pinky, right? Just it does take time, but it feels more comfortable, and there are some things that I can do much faster on this keyboard than on the standard QWERTY keyboard. Thank you, PowerShell Freak. Yeah, so this keyboard, it was provided by the folks at Digma for me to try out. I had spilled scotch on my other keyboard. That is such a Fritz thing. But I spilled scotch on it and it shorted out. This one's been terrific. You can easily replace the keys, like my duck key that we got for Christmas up here from our friend Ellie Face. So all of these features here, this is fully tricked out with all the capabilities. Full RGB lighting, RGB around the edges, you can see here. Wireless, Bluetooth capable, really, really rich set of features that you can get for the keyboard. I am not compensated. They didn't pay me to review the keyboard, to take the keyboard and try it out. But if you do use my link a little bit, they do pay me a little bit for referring you over to Digma. So one nasty drawback there, I think we're out of the ads now. Robert says one nasty drawback in the AI thing is that you get the chance and some results for a simple thing with AI. One chance, yes. And some of that stuff might not be entirely accurate. It's not entirely easy peasy. It can be very inaccurate. Writing code, it'll just display the whole line or multiple lines, and even if it's what I want, it feels like it's more in the way. So you can turn it on and turn it off. I agree with you, Land of the Leap. There are times where it's trying to do things that I don't want. And that's where, quite frankly, we can start providing comments in our code that will help. That will help to structure a little bit of what it's trying to do better, so that we don't end up telling it to do things that, quite frankly, it shouldn't be doing, or that is off somewhere else. So, hey, Ramtenna, hello. It is expensive. Look, professional tools have a professional cost. The camera that I'm using here, this is a high-def 4K capable camera. Was not cheap. I also have, right, this camera that I'm using here. This is a Logitech Brio. It is a high-def webcam, and it was about $100. Camera that I'm using here is a professional camera. Prosumer camera, and almost $1,000. You get what you pay for. So, those are the things. The Defy thumb cluster makes programming symbols so much easier. Yes. So when I flip over with my green thumb key here, these are angle brackets, parentheses over here under my index and middle finger, curly braces up here, square brackets down here. Or no, square brackets up here, curly braces down here. So yeah, moving some of those programming keys that we use so much, so they're right under the home row for us, very handy. Using the Brio for years and years. Yeah, the Brio is a great camera, no doubt. It doesn't detect some colors well. It doesn't. And it is, yeah, it can be an easy $800. You're right. Yep. Supply and demand. Supply and demand. Where's the space bar? I turned this this green switch that you see here is my space bar. So you're right, there is no space bar, but I have, right, I have 7, I have 8 keys on each one of these thumb banks instead of a single space bar. So I can move my thumb around there and do a whole bunch of stuff. And I don't know, you probably can't see it, but there's a little ridge on this green key, so that I know that's where my space bar is. I also, you'll see I turned the F and J keys yellow, so that I can, not only do they have a ridge there, but when I'm looking to place my hands, I can kind of center them. You're working on a personal project over the holidays, Jeremy? Found 2 things about Copilot. Had to turn it off as it was constantly in your way. Stopped IntelliSense. That is one criticism that I think is very valid. Copilot will collide with IntelliSense, and then it becomes tricky to work with. The local AI model with a C# specific prompt was better at things like generating unit tests. Very cool. Okay. Your phone is $1,000 camera, right? So the camera that's on your phone, right, is better than this and as good as this. So when you upgrade your phone, don't get rid of your old phone. You can use that as a camera, right? Or if you have an old phone sitting in a drawer somewhere, you can use that as a camera, right? Mounts for phones are real easy to find, right? A little clamp that it'll sit in, that you can sit it on an arm or somewhere, or clamp to the top of your display. Real easy to do, and there's a couple apps that you can install on your phone that will make that camera accessible as a webcam. So, are there options to customize Copilot? I'm not the expert on this, but there are ways to to enhance Copilot with an enterprise license so it knows about other repositories that you manage and can go through those and work together with them. There's ways to enhance Copilot so that it knows about other documentation, business information, so that it can recommend things better. I'm not an expert on those configurations. I probably will be in 2025. So, how you doing there, VV? VV3K4I. Hello. You wish there was a flagship smartphones without cameras. Why? Price of the phone is driven significantly by the camera. So I don't think it's just the camera. I think it's also the high-end processors they're putting in them now. But that ship has sailed now. There used to be, but that ship has sailed. Building a fully local research assistant with Olama. I'll show you that a little bit. Did Elgato ever make their app for Android? I thought they did. I thought they did, and if not, you can certainly use. There's an NDI app that you can install on your phone that will make that available as a standard video feed. So yeah, I don't need I don't need the other one for my phone. Let me talk about and show you what I've got here, and I will use this hat as an example. So I enhanced. Let me back up. Previously, right here, let's start a new segment here. We have this hat detection bot that's sitting there in chat, and when you run the hat command, it takes a picture with a little app and sends that off to Custom Vision AI, and it's looking for logos on the hat. There you go. And it comes back based on the picture that it found. It compares against a collection of literally hundreds of other pictures of my hats, and it makes a recommendation based on the one that it thinks it found. I take that ID that it brings back, look up in the database table, and in chat there you see it comes back and says, oh, I think it's the Penn State Gray S. Well, with the advancements in the vision models, in the language models out there, what can we do to get something that might be better? So we set up, we tuned a little bit, something that connects out to an OpenAI deployment out on Azure. And this is using a GPT 4.0 model. Set up an Azure OpenAI client and pass in a system prompt that sets up, here's what you're going to be asking about. And here's the text that I pass in to have it interact with. And I've jokingly said that interacting with an AI and setting up building prompts like this is something that parents are going to be very good at, because you have to describe exactly what you want the AI to do, like you're talking to a 7-year-old, right? You are an AI assistant that can detect and describe baseball-style hats from an image. The user will provide an image of someone wearing a hat, and they might also be wearing a headset. Ignore the headset and focus on the hat. That's me with the headset. The hat comes from a collection that includes hats that fall into one of these categories: sports teams, colleges, Marvel Comics, Microsoft logos, Star Wars, and other popular culture references. Be as descriptive as possible about the hat, focusing on design, colors, logo placement, text, category, and organization that the hat references, and any notable features. If the hat references a sports team or college, this is what I added. You should conclude with that school's slogan or cheer. If the hat references a Marvel comic character, you should conclude with a comment about the hat in the tone of the referenced character or organization. And we started seeing some very interesting results. In particular, the one that I posted on Discord was about, and I also shared it on Blue Sky. Let me grab the blue sky comment because that's a little bit easier for everybody to get to. The Mandalorian hat that I have is very hard for the custom vision AI bot to pick up and report on. And you can see the hat it's black with this little bit of vinyl in here and some extra stitching. So the color difference here is very hard to detect. But when I pass that in using that prompt that I provided, this is what it responded with. Right? The logo shape is a T-shaped visor. It's black. This is a black baseball-style hat with a prominent T-shaped visor design on the front, resembling the iconic helmet of the Mandalorian from Star Wars. I didn't give it any of this information. This is the straight model that's available on Azure. Okay? I'll continue. Design features a glossy black finish on the T-shape, which contrasts with the textured fabric of the rest of the hat. The hat does not have any visible text, focusing entirely on the bold and recognizable Mandalorian helmet motif. It's in the Star Wars category. Logo description is the T-shaped visor is a direct reference to the Mandalorian helmet, a symbol of the Star Wars universe and the Mandalorian culture. And that sign-off that I requested it to deliver, this is the way. No pre-programming, no pre-processing. I literally took that image that's shared in this post, and I will put a link to that post so you can go take a look at it. It's there in chat now. No training. The only content that was added to try and make this work is what you see here in this prompt. Okay? That's really, really cool. All right? I don't care who you are. That's really cool. Okay? There's a lot more that we can do with this. But just as an entrance into learning about AI, trying this out, working with these models, very cool stuff. Don't I have any game hats? I do. I have a couple of Overwatch hats. I have a Super Mario hat. I have Legend of Zelda hat. I have a Heroes of the Storm hat. There's a bunch of game hats out there. Absolutely. Yes. So we can absolutely include some of that information as well. I mean, so here's what I want to do, because I think this hat will trick it. So sports teams, colleges, Marvel Comics, Microsoft logos, Star Wars. Let's put in here video games, right? And all it's the prompt that I'm sending is, here's the I grab the image, pass in the image here, which base 64 encodes the image and uploads it, and I just tell it generate a description for the hat, and it returns a record that looks like this. Color has logo, these various properties on it, so that we can spin through and work on that. This is one program, right, that is, what, 70 lines of code minus the using statements up at the top and the extra spaces, right? And the prompt is, what, 12 lines? You get rid of the spaces, it's 9 lines. Not hard, but easy to see what we're doing here. Now, my thinking is, as I get closer to integrating this with the chatbot and rolling it into the live stream as a regular feature, it's not ready yet. I probably want to have some sort of trigger sound effect, more than just the camera shutter going off, to indicate that I need to look at the camera because it's about to take a picture of the hat. and then take the picture, send it off for the analysis, and work with it. Now, what UNESCO has been hinting at is the time for the analysis has been 3 to 10 seconds. If it's doing that analysis for that long, is it possible to bring down a model and run locally? And then hopefully it's faster and responds better. I don't know. Oh, don't get me started with Jeff the Land Shark. You're going to say that. You mentioned that, and our friend Junie's going to have a good time poking fun at me the rest of the stream on this. Let me take a screenshot right now using the tools here in OBS, which is how this works. So if I grab that, and I'm going to take a screenshot, and I will grab the screenshot from the folder where it wrote it here. I'm going to open that with paint.net so I can cut it down appropriately. There it is. That's right, I'm sitting in front of a green screen. Who knew? All right. So what the app does that I already have built is it grabs, we don't need to grab quite that much, right? It grabs roughly this area. And let's do a save as. And I'm going to put this into right, GPT hat test. Somewhere down in here, I have a bin, debug, net9. There's my data folder. And let's save this as WebP was the suggestion, so we can get some higher resolution. And let's call this Gray S test. All right. Save that, and we'll make sure we push this in with, like, that's 15K, and it's still pretty good quality there. All right. So now I'm going to come down here. This is going to be looking for something like Gray S. It's image WebP now that we're uploading, and we're going to tell it to generate a description. So there is, however, I haven't come close to using the tokens yet. I haven't come anywhere close. So I'll run this, and we'll see what it comes back. Looking for that. Yeah, great. Yeah. Like, I've analyzed 30, 40 images already, and it's less than a penny. So we're not at a problem with cost analysis. Now you're seeing how long it takes to run. Okay. Once again, this is pretty impressive. There's the data that came back. Color, dark gray, has logo true. It's a letter shape. It's the the text is S. Hat is a dark gray baseball style cap featuring a bold embroidered S in navy blue with a white outline. Yes. The design is simple yet striking, with the logo centered and cleanly stitched. Category is colleges. Organization, Penn State University, and we are Penn State. So yes, it is my college logo hat, and it did analyze and find that properly. No tuning, no programming, no. You saw. I didn't tell it that I have Penn State. Nowhere in here does it mention that university. It just says college, right? Colleges. I could give it a little bit more detail about, hey, here's some more of the various organizations. Developers. But I didn't. Thank you for the follow. And it picked these up and is really, really good. Right? Like, the problem is That took 7.5 seconds. Shouldn't it specify that it's American? Yeah, you're right. I could be more precise with that, but I don't think I need to be. So it's taking, right? I physically took that picture, right, from stream here. You saw the photo that I took, right there, live on stream from the camera, and dropped it into the folder, and it recognized it. So that's what the hat detection is here, Anakin. Thank you, Power of the Sun. Appreciate the New Year's wishes. Might make it more accurate. How much more accurate does it need to be? So this is getting more and more impressive. I want to try with some, like, I thought I might be able to fool it with a hat that is so simple in logo with just an S. I want to try with a couple other hats that have some obscure logos and just see what it comes back with. Replacing, so, right, and let's contrast that result with, right, this, which doesn't detect a thing. Doesn't detect a thing. Do I have a hot dog hat? I have a taco hat. You could use this for cataloging your QWERTY t-shirts. Yes. Yes. So between streams, I'm teaching the AI model. No. Now, this is a more obscure hat. Let me take a screenshot of this one. But for cataloging these, there's definitely something that could be done there, right? So I'll take a screenshot of this one. All right. And I'll grab that screenshot. Okay. This is clearly not a college. No, don't. I wanted to grab the entire hat. Yeah, like that. Okay. This is for a cidery called 814 Cider Works. They make hard apple cider and other fine adult beverages at their apple orchard in the 814 area code in central Pennsylvania. Fantastic drinks they make there. Totally recommend if you're in central Pennsylvania, you find your way into the Penn State area, you gotta check this out. But let's pass in this little bit more obscure image and see how it does this time. So I'll do WebP again. And I'm going to go, do I have the folder already open here? Yeah, there we go. I'll just call this 814. All right. And let it ride again. Just found the channel. Hey, thank you, Hero Wolverine. Welcome. I didn't pick up on your follow earlier. My apologies. So, all right. Light gray hexagon, and of course, it read the text. This took 5.5 seconds. Hat is a light gray baseball style cap. Blah 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 blah. Which has an orange and black color scheme. The logo depicts a mountain range in the background with the text 814 Cider Works. The hat represents a local or regional cider brand, showcasing a rugged and outdoorsy aesthetic. Okay, very cool. Ads just kicked in. Darn it. And I can take this now and use some database work to augment those results and deliver something that's a little bit more compelling. However, for the purposes of having the bot say something on stream, like the color, the logo, the text and the logo shape, and the organization, I think are really good to put in a database and to help augment that. So I would do the RAG locally and have it run a function against a local database. So it wouldn't cost me anything extra. I would set up semantic kernel to do that. However, as a first step, right, that message is so much better than this coming back with hat not found messages. Right? Like, we're on to something here. Right? At the very least, I can describe, hey, here's a little bit of the hat, right? So I think we're getting into something here that will be very interesting to drop in. Now, I can take that idea and we're not going to go to SharpSite just yet. Fritz Stream Tools. Oh, come on. Thank you. The way that I architected the bot, there is a series of commands that it knows how to interact with. So here's the various commands. So there is a predict hat command. Right? This is that hat command that folks execute in chat. And right now it goes out and grabs a bunch of keys, creates a custom vision prediction client, sends the shutter sound effect, gets a screenshot, right? So this is where it goes and it takes that picture and delivers just a part of the hat. And then it says detect image and just outputs information about it based on how confident it is. I don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to go through and have all of that, because I can just drop in those 70 lines in my prompt, tune and tweak. I still probably want to send some sort of shutter capability here. And our friend Ellieface has a fantastic photo booth queue on her stream that respectfully I think we would want to emulate, where it does the old movie theater style countdown 3, 2, 1 on screen, and then there's a flash when it takes the picture, so that it has the sound effect, it has that prompt, and then we can take the picture. That way we're sure that I'm not looking over here and you can't see anything, and we'll get an accurate reading. So a little bit of the coordination of how the bot works and how what it's using to go detect with. Now, each one of these commands is an interface that we just plug in. So I can literally create another command called the OpenAI hat command and pass it in there. Because that hat detection, it actually costs me tokens each time it runs with the OpenAI, the new version. I want to open up that cooldown. 30 seconds is too frequent. I think we want to open that up to like 5 minutes. Because I don't change hats that frequently, right? Open that up a little bit, and if it is run within the cooldown time, instead of it coming back and saying, oh, you caught me during cooldown, have it report back, here's the last hat that I detected. So, is it easy to get started with Semantic Kernel? I had some challenges getting started with it when I started reviewing Semantic Kernel over the summer, because Semantic Kernel at that time was evolving so quickly. The documentation, the samples, and the APIs were in 3 different versions. And there was a significant upgrade to the API that happened between the documentation and the current version that was deployed. So the API update broke all the documentation effectively. My understanding is that they're in line now. The APIs have started to solidify. They're much more stable, and it is easier to learn, and the samples and the code that folks have written out there are a lot better to work with. That's something that I want to spend some time tinkering with and learning about, and we'll probably do a bit of that here in January. So I think, because of how I've built this to be so modular, right, and this is entirely independent of the rest of the system, it's going to be easier for me to integrate the new AI model. The screenshot training service, I don't need that anymore. No, it's a screenshot service that I built that generates, yeah, that takes the pictures and sends it back. So but there's the question about, is that Signal R where I send the shutter? It's not just Signal R when I send the shutter here. That is absolutely a Signal R message to a browser component that's here in OBS, that's invisible but has that audio that it will play. This is also a Signal R connection. So this actually is another application. No, wait, where is it? This OBS hub is another application that is connected. Yeah, and it takes pictures. Well, this is a Signal R hub that is connected and takes pictures, yeah. So there's a screenshot sync instance here that knows how to receive those images and then publish them out to the chatbot that's listening. So there is an app that's sitting here that I run every time I start stream called OBS Proxy that has an OBS WebSocket open, right? And it connects in and it takes a screenshot. So, and it's taking it in PNG format. So, really, it's almost Rube Goldbergian in how these pieces fit together. There's a little service that's over here, a little service that's over here, and they connect to each other and talk to each other. Is that a DLL import from OBS? No, there's a package that I'm using here, obswebsocket.net, and there's probably a significant update to it. that I need to apply. Yeah, I started updating this to .NET 9, and I never finished. And I'm going to have to go through that. So there's an update to Image Sharp, but the OBS, here it is. OBS WebSocket.net. So it was last published in October of 2022. So not hard to use, but it's certainly there's the name of it. It could certainly use some documentation help. These folks, Bar Raider, have just gone nuts, building all kinds of streaming plugins and tools and things. So and that's great. I don't have the attention span to stay focused in this one area to build and deliver things, right? So they built their own Stream Deck tools. We had a Stream Deck tool set that we built, but this seems like it's simpler, easier to use. They even built a template like we had, so that's great. They've been keeping up and iterating on this. I've got other topics, other technologies that I want to get into and discuss and build on. So I bounce around a little bit more, and we got into things like Clip Talk that took away from there. Yeah, Bar Raider just, quite frankly, they have more time and more focus to work on those than I do. Hey, Frank, Happy New Year. So that's what I've been iterating on. That's what I've been spending time on. Let's give it one more hat to try and see if it picks up a little bit on, because it is a pop culture reference and it is a game. Somebody was saying, "Oh, you need more game hats." I've got a game hat for you. Now you're going to say, "Man, you're old." How's that for a game hat? You like game hats? How about that for a game hat? Hey, Eric, hello. Happy New Year. Yeah, I've got a little bit of a cold that I'm fighting here. And I've been taking some meds to deal with that. So I'll take a screenshot of this one and get that loaded up and see what it says. So there it is. I'll cut down the image. And I have this all being done automatically by Image Sharp. Save that one. Once again, it's not in my data folder for some reason. There it is. Save it as WebP. And, right, I'll just call this Pong. Right, and good enough. And that Pong hat image is 13K. That's pretty good. Pretty good, right? But it's a game hat. The old style round wheel controllers. Oh, yeah. So, okay, that one came back in 4.5 seconds. Black and yellow with orange accents. It does have a logo, text-based, the text Pong. With a bold retro-inspired design, it features horizontal gradient stripe across the front panel in shades of yellow and orange, reminiscent of classic arcade visuals. The text Pong is prominently displayed in white using a clean, modern font. Blah, blah, blah. Video games, the logo is the word Pong, referencing the iconic video game that is widely regarded as one of the first games ever created. The organization is Atari. A perfect nod to the golden age of gaming. This hat is a must-have for the retro gaming enthusiasts. Nice. Really good, right? Why PNG instead of JPEG? I did WebP, actually. Better compression. So, no suggestions, just this text. It's really detailed. I agree. So for an initial response that the bot would deliver, I think there's somewhere between this description and the organization. Somewhere. Let's try something. Let's have it give it a name. Suggest no. Suggested name. Just suggest a name for the hat. Based on the color, organization, or logo. Now let's see what it does. Same thing with the Pong hat. Okay. So it's this hat that we sent it a picture of. Now it's taking a little bit longer because it's got some additional information it's got to do. 8 seconds that time. The Pong Retro Gradient hat. Okay? And it's the description is basically the same. Yeah. The rest of this is the same, but the name that it suggested, that's pretty good. This hat would be Graham. Let me give it the 814 hat again. Once again, it's not something that is, it's a small company, private organization that doesn't have a lot of information out on the internet. And what it's suggesting for that, once again, taking a little bit more time, 4.9 seconds, the 814 Cider Works mountain hat. And now let's try the gray S. The gray Penn State S hat that I had earlier. Hey, is it Matt and Moore? Give me a second, I'll answer your question. So, Penn State Navy Block S hat. Pretty good, right? And that's this hat that it's referencing. So, pretty good, right? That's not bad at all. So, I think we're on to something with this. And to the question of, well, how much is this costing? Here's the portal. Nothing. I've run dozens of hat images through it, and I'm still at 0.01. Okay. If we go to the monitoring of this, right, the number of requests, we haven't had many requests. It's certainly using a bunch of tokens, but for the frequency that folks run the hat command on this channel, I'm okay with this. Waiting for it to come up with the name Hattie McHatface. So, I feel pretty good about that. And certainly, if we're able to bring something locally that can run, we might be on an even more interesting place. So, there's a community toolkit that the .NET Aspire team has sponsored or endorsed. And one of the things that this comes with is the ability to host an OLLAMA container. So you can run a large language model locally. this tool, nope, it's not there, will allow you to specify a model to download and use. So I'm wondering if I can use this one. About an 8 gig model, but this is Llama 3.2 Vision. Can I bring this one down and use this to do similar hat detection? And then I don't need to use Azure, but can I get the same speed? I don't know. You've run some images locally, did it with some large ones without GPU, and that was a bit slow. How slow was it, Ninja? And Digital Dummy, that's my other concern. If I'm running it locally, it's going to take resources from my PC. What if I run it over on my server? That doesn't have a GPU. What happens then? So the results from Ollama may not be as good as GPT-4o, correct? Took 10 minutes on a 30 billion tensor model. Yeah, right? And this is in 1190. Yeah. Is it worth it, that 3 to 5 seconds? Sure, probably. So I can try running this locally, but we will see. Let me back up to the question from Matt in War. Matt wants to start game development. What's my advice for how to start and which languages? You're in university and you work. What type of game development do you want to do? There's lots of directions that you can go with that. The go-to language for game development is C++. If you're not already a developer, C++ is a steep hill to climb. If you are, if you're not a developer and you're just getting into this, something like Unity or Godot is going to be a game engine that you can get started with that will get you results quicker. Take a look at some of the other game development streamers that are on Twitch, some of their projects that they've been working on, so you can see what's possible with that. I particularly recommend Lana Lux, who's doing design and programming work with the Unity game engine. It's free to get started. Godot is the other C# based engine. It's free to get started. The C# language is very forgiving compared to C++, but commercial, professional game studios overwhelmingly use C++. They use there are many studios out there that use different technologies, but overwhelmingly the popular game development language is C++. What you learn with C# will benefit you in C++, but if you're just getting started, you just want to see what's out there, what's available, take a look at Unity. There's some great tutorials out there that you can get started on for free that'll help you wet your whistle and decide if this is where you want to go. If you're comfortable with the language and you want to go a little bit further, go take a look at some things like the Unreal Engine, which is built with C++. That's used for a lot of the Epic games, Epic Studios games out there. Folks like Fortnite are built with that. Really great engine, takes a lot more programming to work with. So it's, yeah. So there's several different, these engines, these base frameworks that are already built for you that are going to do many, many things that you can enhance without having to have a lot of low-level knowledge around physics and UI programming. It gets to be a little bit easier to work with. The higher the parameterized size model, the slower the inference speed. Yes. So Going back to the AI discussion, I deployed the GPT-4o model here. What happens if I deploy the mini model? Is it faster, slower? Might be faster, right? See, this says GPT-4o mini. Is the mini deployed over there also? Can I just bump over to the mini? It is there. All right, so let's try just changing it over to mini. So there's that result. Let's copy this into Notepad. Let's take you. So that's our record, right? And I can change this over to the 4.0 mini model. Oh, this is so good. By just changing the model. It's at the same location, so I can just run it. And a time of 4 seconds. Yep. So now running against the 4.0 mini. Significantly longer. Might also not be running at this point, right? Like it might need to be reprovisioned. Right, we're not hanging back here. But that mini model might not. Uh-oh. We're waiting. Well, this doesn't feel good, does it? Taking its good old time. Ad start in about 3 minutes here. Like, uh-oh. It's interesting it's taking so long, isn't it? Jeopardy music, yeah. Hit it one more time. No, we're just hanging. Yeah, it might not be provisioned. It might not be sitting there waiting for us like the 4.0 was. Right? I think you're right, Eric. But it does say it's deployed. Right? So if I do go to, where's the playground? Right? When was King Kong released? That's what I was thinking was, is this a cold start issue? But clearly it's running in the background. Run it one more time. Yeah. And just to prove that it still works with the 4.0, which is a more sophisticated model, right? Yeah, 4.6 seconds. So, no comparison there. No comparison there. Final stack with a question there. 2 questions. Let me roll over and let's take those questions from Final Stack right here. Does .NET Aspire currently support Blazor WebAssembly, or is it not available yet? Yes, it does. You can run a Blazor WebAssembly project in there. Absolutely. It's .NET Aspire will host and enable that website. So you just have to point it at that whatever's hosting it. So if you're running a .NET 9 Blazor web app that has WebAssembly in it, it'll start and manage that. When publishing .NET Aspire to Azure, does Blazor Server use Azure Signal R, or is it just standard WebSocket connection? If you want to use Azure Signal R, you need to add that reference to it. Ads just kicked in. So, there we go. I hope that helps. Final stack? Yeah, okay, you have the subscriber hat there, so you should have heard me then, instead of getting pivoted over to the ads. So that's a little bit of, and I'll wrap up here. That's what I was tinkering with. That's where we were working with this. Certainly, this feels like something that I should be able to drop into the bot very easily. I do have to finish updating it to .NET 9. But adding this in for the hat command should be easy to do. I need to tweak a little bit the how it handles the timeout so that I can still report back. The referral link on Digma is not working? Oh no! One second here. Let me take a look at that. I'm sorry. No. Let me double check that. There it is. They changed my link. Well, that's a heck of a lot easier link. Yeah. I'll drop that link in chat and I'll go update that real quick here. There's the link for Digma. Can you start developing plugins for what? I've been dropped. Oh no! Yeah, they gave me a named link now. That's kind of nice. Yeah, there's a handful of things in the bot that I need to clean up, like the keyboard command, the Q&A. So there's another one. The Q&A bot, I think we can set that up to a little bit of what UNESCO's been commenting on with a local trained fee model, right? That's a much smaller model that we can use to, there we go. That we can use to grow, analyze what's been talked about in chat, and deliver more reliable answers. Let me see. Bit of work for WASM only client. Yeah, if you're doing WASM only client, it's a little bit trickier to do. But with .NET 9, I don't recommend you have a WASM only client. I don't recommend you do that anymore. It's .NET 9 with the Blazor web app. The pre-rendering that you'll get out of that and having WebAssembly running on it is so much better than what you would get with just a static site. It is quite valuable to have that. So plugins for SharpSite, we're getting there. We're getting there. Absolutely. How hard you can always ask random questions. But how hard is it to implement passkey authentication? Haven't tried it yet. Haven't tried it yet. I don't think there's good documentation for implementing passkey authentication at all. Um, so, okay. Auth0, yeah, there you go. That would be a third-party provider would have been my first guess, and yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Auth0, Okta, yeah, providing that capability. So, I'm going to park this. I've got some more tweaking, tuning, and experimentation on this. Yes, passkey is very iffy. It's new, and seeing the way that different devices deliver that capability is not something that I would want to not something that I'd want to bet on yet, because as things change, like, and things are going to change, you're going to want to keep up with those changes, which means that your code is going to need to be modified frequently. You use 1Password, Android phone will only do passkey with Google themselves. Right. Those types of things. Compatibility is just... So... Okay. Let's roll back over to SharpSite and that project. So I'm going to do some more work on this on the side. I'm going to update the bot on the side. And as I'm getting ready to roll that out, I'll share that on a live stream. Might even do that. Might be able to do that tomorrow. Let's go over to the SharpSite project. And we've been working on building a file system, file storage plugin for this. The idea for this is SharpSite is a content management system. We built the ability to have a plugin manager and plug in various features. And the initial feature that we configured was the ability to just add a theme. Give me a way that I can load something in here that puts a CSS package down, a CSS file down, and adds that reference into the application. Got that. Works great. No, I don't want to say works great. Works in our simple example. Next step, though, when we think about building a content management system, you want to store files somewhere. So where do those files get stored? Well, we provided an interface that defines here's how file storage is managed. And it's a typical repository interface. To get a file, get a list of files, add a file, and remove a file. Simple. But the implementation of this repository could go to many different things, right? It could go to just the base file system right next to wherever you installed the system. It could be, you know what, we're going to base 64 encode these files and store them in a database, right? In a database like MongoDB, SQL Server, Postgres, what have you. Or it could be, you know what, we're going to use a storage provider like Amazon S3, Azure Blob Storage. And these are different plugins that you want to be able to choose between to configure and install and run your application. How they get chosen and deployed and installed, that's another story. But being able to have a base provider that says, I'm going to save files locally, we've started going through and adding here. And we even built an initial API that knows how to take in the plugin manager and go find how that API, how that interface for file storage is configured. And we used a little bit of GitHub Copilot to generate the ability to get a list of files that are available, to get to actually get a file and return it. The ability to post and upload a file. And we even added a little bit of authorization check on there. You must be a registered user. That may change, but for now, just to give us a naive implementation to get us started, this isn't too bad. And a put endpoint to update files, so we'll remove a file, we'll add the file. Once again, in order to do that type of change, you need to be an admin. To delete a file, you must be an admin. Very simple implementation and naive. There are security concerns here that we need to address and walk through. We'll get there in a little bit. Do we need to have an app settings JSON editing UI in the SharpSite admin section so that plugin settings can be filled in? Now you're getting somewhere that we started heading to Codebase Alpha. Now you're getting somewhere. Yes. So our file system storage, here's our plugin that actually implements this. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Dev Excelente. And it's going to receive, right? We even defined a little attribute here that says, here's how you register this plugin and what type it is to plug in and how to register it. But we've defined a configuration section that tells more information about this. And what Codebase Alpha is hinting at is, well, we've got for this, we want to be able to specify, here's where the base folder is that we're storing our content on, right? Hang all of our uploaded content under this folder, and by default, it's just under this uploaded files location. We should probably change this max length from 100 to something, let's make it 500. Now, what I'm leaning into here that feeds a little bit more of what Codebase Alpha is suggesting there, because I was thinking the same thing. I added these component annotations here, right? This is a standard feature in .NET that we have the ability to specify a display name that goes with this, so, and then some requirements around it. Well, we can take this and turn this into and turn this into a user interface by inferring from it exactly how it needs to be configured and doing a little bit of reflection to generate this. In fact, we don't even need to do reflection. We can use a dynamic component to reference and build this. Oh, it's going to be good. So to Codebase Alpha's point, yes, we do need to build a little bit of user interface so that you can configure this. How does that work, right? So we're getting into some very interesting spots here where this is defined inside the plugin. This configuration section, which implements the SharpSite configuration section, needs to be loaded up and made available somewhere. How? How do we dynamically identify this, load this, and put it into our admin user interface? That's where we're going to start today. So, we're not actually saving and uploading files yet, but we need to be able to configure this. Hey, thank you for the follow. So, right, we're getting into some parts of SharpSite's development, right? And I should provide a link in the information there in chat. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link to the source code just below. Everything that you see me working on from here forward is open source. You can download, you can ask questions. The repository is completely available for you, okay? So we are building a flexible UI for configuring plugins for SharpSite. And here's the link. GitHub.com, Fritz and Friends, SharpSite. There you go. And SharpSite is intended to be a content management system that is highly inspired by WordPress. So I'm actually going to stop a little bit earlier today than I normally go to. And I want to record a couple videos introducing SharpSite and talking about some of the things that we've been building here. This is, of course, the .NET Aspire dashboard. We've been orchestrating and building SharpSite using .NET Aspire so that we can coordinate and bring in our database and our database migration and additional web features as this grows through this user interface, and we can get some great logging and interactions that are presented as part of this. So I'll go to the website and I'll log in here. So the default here is admin at localhost. The password is admin123 exclamation point. Go ahead and log in. Yes, this is expected because of the way that it runs. There we go. So the user interface, we don't have a theme yet. We'll do some more with that probably next week. But when I go down into site admin, we now have some features here that have been built out and added by some of our friends to define various site settings. So maximum upload size, the language settings. The default language is English, but are there other languages that you want to include in the support list? Robots text. Right now, here's the current robots text file. What else would you like to have added to it? So there's capabilities that we're growing and adding here. There's a plugin management bit here so that you can see here's the plugins that have been added. The first plugin theme that just makes H1 tags blue and italic. This was our proof of concept for theming, right? So, Johan, there was a discussion about security text. How does that work for a website that somebody else manages when it's deployed? Who should they be sending security patch information back to? Should it come back to the SharpSite team? Should it go to the website implementation team? The person who's using SharpSite? It's confusing. So, points to the magic, right? But hey, you need to update your install. What does that look like? So I think we're a bit away from building the security text feature, just because there's no structures for that yet. I mean, right now I would more or less give a blank text box and say, key in what you want responded for security text. You think allowing to edit app settings JSON from GUI is a security vulnerability? Being able to upload .NET plugins is a security vulnerability. So, and we're not editing app settings JSON. So, I agree with you. Editing app settings JSON is dangerous. The plugins, where did it go? Here. The idea was that we would get this out of... Yeah, I haven't even defined how we're loading these yet. Yeah, we haven't done anything with configuration in here. So we've added it. There it is. Okay, there it is. Yes, yes. So it's being saved into application state. An application state is a separate JSON file that's sitting on disk. We'll figure out other places that we want to put that. But right now it's sitting in the plugins folder right here as a JSON file. Right? So we would add in an additional section here that has information about this. So for right now, this is where app state saves. Do we mature at some point and put that somewhere else inside of Key Vault or some other location? Maybe. I don't want to over-optimize on completely fleshing out an entire feature here. I want to grow this incrementally. You made a plain text page for robots and security text file. Sure, that can absolutely be done. If only admin or some guy with specific permission can do this, then it's fine. All CMS systems have the same vulnerability. Yes. Right, these are like known vulnerability, known attack points for any CMS system, right? WordPress is extremely vulnerable. But there are things we can do to reduce that attack vector. So when these are installed, it goes and looks for SharpSite configuration sections and adds them to application state. So there's a way to fetch them. Okay. So that's a section name. And right now the section name is file system storage. I do it like that. How do I know where to place this? Where'd it go? Over here. Right, I'm going to put some sort of, like, if I wanted to put a file configuration here, right, or is it just a completely new section because it's that plugin? Right, that could be a thing. Let's try that. Let's try that. I said stop. Thank you. So if I go up here into components, admin, and we define a plugin, not plugin card, but a plugin config. And we do this with a little bit of hang on. Okay. Just keep an eye on. Good. Okay. Just good. All right. Bunch of messages went flying by. Ooh. So if we make this, right, so all of our admin capabilities are under /admin/something. So if we make this at page close, plugin config maybe Something like that. Oh, and we need a, yeah, sure, go figure that out. I don't know what that is yet. And I do need the... Yep. Needs to be an admin. Let's make that capital. Okay. So I've got the plugin name coming in. So let's go look up that configuration section based on that, which means I also need, no. I need to inject application state. Thank you. And we're going to want this as a SharpSite configuration section. Wrong one. That one. No. No. And over here, give me the suggestion on that. Thank you. So now I should be able to go through the properties and put them on screen. Right? Using some dynamic components. So I should be able to say here, this should probably be an H2. Configuration section name. Now, not only do I need that here, but I also, in the admin menu, I need to be able to list those here as well. Right? That's a lot of authorize views around these. Can we simplify these instead of having... Like, can we get rid of that? And then in here I could inject and... Thank you. And now go through the list of configuration sections and generate those appropriately. What do we got? No, not quite. I said var for a reason. Okay, we're getting somewhere here. Admin. No, this is going to need to be... No, we're not localizing that. Yes. Yes. That looks right. End quote. Yeah, that's all right. End the nav link. There you go. Yeah, that's right. Right? I'm not missing. Oh, it's not section name. It's going to be that string. It's going to be section dot key. Why does that think it needs... Oh, I need to close... right, we need to bring you over here, bring that over here. That's better. All right, so now we got the for loop closed. How can a plugin add new nav links to sitemap? Getting there. That's a great great question that we haven't figured out yet. Can you do me a favor? Can you open that as an issue in the repository so that we can remember to come back to that? That is a very good feature for us to need to figure out. Okay, so that should bring me into here, right? Admin plugin config, and plugin manager. The section name is the key over there. So there's an opportunity for collisions here at some point. Yeah. Okay. What else? So inside the UI, there was a question about what's a dynamic component. I'm going to show you. So what we can do is we can say dynamic component. And what dynamic component does, yes, I know. Dynamic component is a, what? Come here. Yeah, I know, you don't know what that is yet. I'm trying to F1 and you're not going into it. Fine. Be that way. Dynamic component, where it will inspect the type that it's been connected up to and generate appropriately the features around it. So there's a couple of different features. And here's a dynamic component. And based on what type is selected, it routes to one of these other specific components. But I believe, if I remember correctly, it will also pick up and render plain text examples. Give me another example. Yeah, this is the same guy that wrote it. Yeah, there you go. You can pass in a complete parameter dictionary, and it will generate those values. Component metadata. I'm 90% positive it's going to. Right, if I specify type, the type of the component to be rendered. This might not be... Yeah, section is a reserved word. And the parameters. Pass them in as an I dictionary of string and object. String is the name of the parameter, and object is the parameter's value. Which... I want to get out of here. Hey, Mac Dubinghall. What I want it to do is I want to iterate over these. And generate that user interface. But I thought there was a way with dynamic components to do that. Come on. There we go. No. So do I have to create a field type for each one of these? That goes and gets out. I didn't think I had to do that. Dynamically generate form fields. Yeah, I thought there was a... Right. We know we have these field types. I thought that's what dynamic model gave us, and I'm... Yeah, that's... not what I was looking for. What's this person have? I mean, if I have to create a couple components to enable this, that's fine. But I know we can do label 4 and that kind of thing. Right? Let's think this through. Maybe we get away without doing dynamic component. Let's start with the spinner. Put the spinner first. Yeah. Okay. Loading indicator. Sure, that's fine. Good enough to get started. And then the other side of this. Don't put that in yet. Let's see what Copilot can give us. OpenAI has detection? No, OpenAI hat detection. That's what we did earlier. Yep. Dynamically generate a form based on the properties in the configuration section. Use component attributes as much as possible to configure. Yeah. No. Oh, what is this? Excuse me. Oh, the moving pieces in my family. Scheduling and whatnot. You just added a new issue to SharpSite related that plugin should be able to add nav links to sitemap dynamically. Yeah. That's okay, Ice Cream Stick Model. Happy to take that as an initial reminder of those types of things and plan that appropriately. That's part of what we're doing here, is coordinating and taking some of these ideas and thoughts, because we all come from a diverse set of backgrounds, and getting folks together and sharing those ideas, those directions, are a huge thing that's going to really help to make sure that we deliver a fantastic product here. Why am I not getting... Why am I not getting the chat echoing back and forth between them? Bot. Yeah, relay mode is turned on. It's not relaying. Hey, Carl. Nope. I needed to step away for just a few seconds to answer the phone. Am I only allowing one level of properties per plugin? Starting simple here. Is that something that we'll need? Maybe. For our initial set of requirements, I don't think so. Having a series of hierarchical configuration is something that, while it might be nice to have, do I want to spend 2 hours building, defining, and making that possible with very complex user interface right now? No, we don't need to go there yet. If that's something that you think we should have, go ahead, create an issue, and we can turn that into an assignment that somebody else picks up and helps with. But to get us out the door and build the minimum needed to get going, I think we're fine with just one level. So, but I don't want to lose vision of that could be a future requirement. So, Gemini says there are 4 hats currently on screen. Wow, Gemini is really good, isn't it? It's the best of the bots that are out there. I'll flip back and repeat what I showed a little bit earlier. Yeah, it's you're proving to me that Gemini is a little bit trash when it comes to image detection, is what you're proving to me. So this hat that I'm wearing right now, I already took a picture of it earlier, and I'll show this demo again because it's still in the title. I have a collection of hats. I have a large collection of hats, and we've been testing and inspecting and using a little OpenAI prompt to have it inspect and report back what the hat is. You see right here, here's the Pong hat, but I have this large selection of, it's not that large. I mean, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 21, right? What, close to 30 hats here on screen. Yeah, 29 hats on screen. Well, you're kind of proving to me it's trash right now. But by passing in this prompt that says you're an AI assistant that can detect and describe baseball-style hats, passing in the image of this hat, it comes back. The Mando hat, give me a second here. We'll do that one again. And it calls it the Pong Retro Gradient hat. It's black with yellow and orange gradient, and it's basically a black baseball-style hat featuring the bold white Pong text logo. On the front, it's a striking yellow to orange gradient, blah, blah, blah. The logo is the word Pong, representing the classic video game from Atari. That's what Azure OpenAI detected. So the crown badge, the cap under it. Oh, the badges on that were in text. Sure. Right. So there's a Mandalorian hat over here. Right. Oh, the other thing to note, right, that we've been keeping an eye on is that took 4.3 seconds. Right. We haven't run with the Mandalorian hat. Yeah, but at this point it should say one hat with what's on screen right now. Right? So, took 12.9 seconds. Calls it the Mandalorian helmet hat. It has a T-shaped visor on it. The T-shaped visor is a signature element of the Mandalorian helmet, symbolizing the mysterious and formidable bounty hunters from the Star Wars universe. This is the way. No training. That's just what the GPT-4o says. So, yeah. Right. So, looking through at other hats here, let's do the let's do the Nintendo controller over here. Right. So, it knows and can report these. Yeah, there aren't 4 hats on screen now. All right, there's just this one. So it's calling it the Retro NES controller hat. A detailed graphic of the NES controller, including D-pad buttons and the Nintendo logo. A perfect hat for retro gaming enthusiasts. Press start and level up your style. That's a cool conclusion that it generated. But there we go. So, not bad, right? Like it's detecting and reporting all of this based on my tuned prompt here that does specify the hats come from one of these categories. So it is giving a little bit of context, right? So I'll do one more to kind of show this off, and this is what we're going to be improving in the future. Let's go with, well, hang on, I have all the hat images here. Oh, wait a sec, grab this one. Let's be funny for a second. No, I didn't want to open that, darn it. Let's do the Old Bay hat. Just because it's funny like that. Right? I haven't done this one before. Old Bay seasoning hat. Logo is rectangular design with bold white text on a blue background, red text on a yellow background, accompanied by seafood illustrations. So, featuring the iconic Old Bay seasoning branding. Yep. This hat is a bold and flavorful tribute to the iconic Old Bay brand, perfect for fans of the seasoning and seafood lovers alike. There you go. So, that's the OpenAI hat detection. No, not testing with Mini. Testing with the straight GPT-4o, with the bigger model. The 4o Mini still wasn't responding. So, we did that a little bit earlier. We had a good time tuning that a little bit, and we think we're going to plug that in and do more with it. So that it's actually running in chat and takes direct pictures and reports that. Ask it which famous tech streamer has worn all these hats. Does it ever say, I don't know? No. Oh, no. I'm out of coffee. So, It does have ways of measuring confidence. We can certainly have it report the confidence, but not something that I'm too concerned about yet. But I'm using a Copilot here, and I'm hoping to get it to generate the form here. There we go. If property type is a property of type string, property name as the label, no. Here, let's get rid of this for right now. Close that for right now. Sure, that's fine. And close the form. Starting simple here. Add start in 2.5 minutes here. How can I turn coffee into code without coffee? Right. Like maybe tomorrow we'll just dedicate to working on the bot and getting that rolled out. Anyways, so here, right, I'm going to take this and hang on. I don't think I can make this a come here. No, I don't want it to be a new component. Where is it? It's like alt /. Convert this to a label generated based on the display name attribute on the property. You cannot see how many fingers I'm holding up? No. And that coffee message is so old. Yeah, I'm not using. Using system component model, display name, get the custom attribute. I thought there was a... That's not bad. Go ahead, accept that. Right. And why doesn't it like this? Yes, it does. Property info. Yeah, get custom attributes. Am I missing a using statement here? Yep. There we go. Okay. And the text is the value, not of configurations section. Oh no, getting it from... Yeah, okay. Now why doesn't it... Left-hand side of... Oh. Okay. So if we're dynamically grabbing this thing... See, I think this should be an input text. If it's an input text... I can't... I need to bind this through a... Oh, boy. And a change event. Ads have kicked in for the next 2 minutes. I think I want to handle the on change so that I can inspect. right? Pain in my neck. Modify property. And yeah, give me an event handler on that. Let's see what it looks like. Because I think, yeah, change event args, we can inspect that. We can get the value. Ah. All right, so what if we did... prop name args. What if we did that? Right now it's going to come back and tell me, whoa! Oh, and I need to close the paren. Okay. So now I'm taking a string argument in front of this. So now I could reach into the property and lay that out. I see your question, Frank. Give me just a second here. Use reflection. Yeah, to set the property value on configuration section. I don't care. Do it. No. Do it. You're not going to do it, are you? Yes. Go ahead, start doing it. There you go. And I'm going to want oh boy. No, that's okay. Because we're inside the other side where that's already a thing. Okay, and I just need a data annotations validator. I think that'll work. Before I get this running, let me go back to chat. Frank asks, how do you group structure your component files? Pages, components, subcomponents. Any advice or best practices? So in SharpSite, what I've done, the structure that that the Blazor project comes with, Blazor project template, is a components folder that contains all of your Razor files. So all of your UI components, whether they're pages or they're child components. They then put things into a pages folder that are the public website pages that are accessible. I went and a layout folder that has those shared things that facilitate the layout. I went one step further, and because I have a section for admin pages, I put all of my admin page and component content under an admin folder. It might make sense to have an admin pages folder and then the components next to it. shared components that go across the entire site I have hanging outside here. So that's just me. I think there's probably better ways that we can group this. We'll get there. So I don't think I have that right. I think there's more to this that we don't quite have yet. I also need to wire up the submit button so that it knows how to save that. Right, and to persist that content back to disk. That's going to take a little bit of work. Actually, no, it won't, because the application state knows how to do it, doesn't it? It has a save, so I can just call save. All right, maybe I'm wrong. So let's turn this into a edit form. If we specify the model is our configuration section. Save changes. No, I want you to generate. Nope. No, rats. Yeah. Hey, save the changes to the configuration section. Yes, please do that. No. So configuration section is coming out of that. So yeah, go ahead. No. Save as an async task, so we can await this, which means this can be an async task. But I should reset the application state. No, it's app state. That's the instance. I think that works. Is this rendered as server-side interactivity? Oh, wait, good point. Need to get that in there. Interactive server. I think that's all we need. Make sure that builds. That's okay. No, you're not going to let me do that. I don't mind marking that as required because it is required up here. in order to even get to this. There we go. What other errors do we have here? Got it. Got it. Oh, yeah. That is okay. Yep. Let's call this config section. And you didn't rename it everywhere because it didn't know what that one was. All right. Where's the configuration section coming from? It's being loaded in from here. Oh, I don't grab that yet. Good point. Okay. There it is. Let's put an error handler in here. It doesn't need to be public. Missing plugin. Yeah, there we go. So now I can go up here and I can throw an else if in here. Thank you. How's that? Good catch, Dr. Cox. Thank you. Building. Cool. Okay. Simple, once again, naive. Build it simple, get it running, and then we can put all the checks and constraints and validation around it. Get it running so that the happy path, all of the expected behaviors work. Then we'll look at validation things in a bit. I can't actually install the file system plugin yet because I don't have it built and compiled as a plugin yet. So let's do that. SharpSite plugins, file storage, file system. So rebuild that. There it is. And let's go start building that as a plugin. So I had created this artifacts folder that has my first plugin here, and there's the manifest for this, and here's the two folders. So let's try something similar. New folder. File system plugin. All right. I need a lib folder and a manifest. So we'll start with the manifest, add a new folder. And I'll go over to so these are already installed. I don't need to bring them down. I don't think. But I think I need these three. Right, if we look over here, what's in the lib folder? Just the DLL. Let's see what we got. All right, I'll delete these two for right now. So I've got my manifest JSON. Let's edit that. Okay. ID. File system plugin. File system file provider. Allows files to be saved and read from the local file system. Sure, that's fine. Today is the 2nd. We'll make this 5. Fritz and Friends, me. Yes. Tags, this is going to be file system, and the feature is right, plugin features, file storage. I should be able to make that all lowercase. I think that's it. Let's compress it. And I forget what I'm file system plugin 010. I forget what our extension is. SSPKG. SSPKG. Yes, I know. But it's going to be quite usable to me. There we go. All right. Let's see what happens. Like, we've built all these pieces in isolation. Let's see what happens. Let's run this. Try to upload. We're probably going to hit a bug. Like, I'm not even going to allow us to take channel point bets on this. We're going to hit a bug. So, let it load up. It says it's running. Navigate to the sites. Come on. This is going to be good. Go ahead and log in. Admin at localhost. Yep, that's fine. All right. Site admin. Plugin management. Add new plugin. Yes, we're going to add a new plugin. Here we go. That's not right. Up one. File system plugin. Okay. So far, it's identified the file. Okay, good. Yes. Those are all the things that we keyed into the manifest. So that's still working. Okay. Let's reload application state. That was the thing from earlier. What do we got? No settings yet. Okay. Also, it's the configuration section isn't loaded down here. Hey, Corey. Yeah, we're getting somewhere. What did it save to disk? There it is. It's opened and it's laid everything out on disk. Right? And the uploaded packages are listed here. Okay. It created the folder. The DLL is there on disk. I bet you the plugin is gone. So let's restart the website. I could have restarted it from the Aspire dashboard. No matter. How you doing, Corey? Great to see you. There was a question somebody had a little bit earlier asking about using passkeys with Blazor. And one of the suggested directions to go with that was reach out to the folks at Auth0 for that. So, yeah, it's great to see you too. Okay. So if I go over to site admin, it sees it, but I don't think it loaded all the configuration. Where the folder where the plugin, right, the plugins get stored here, and in the uploaded folder, it's there, right? So we can see that it uploaded and saved it, and the contents of it are extracted and are over here for the file system. So everything's here. It thinks it loaded it. I can't tell if it's registered with it. It is, but I think that's a rounding error. Nope, that's 0 bytes. That's a neat trick. That's a neat trick. Because it absolutely expanded that. Interesting, it created a dub root. Yeah, there was nothing to copy in there. But for the first theme, it is there. Infinite compression unlocked. Yes, Dr. Cox. So, a couple things we need to address. Should not have created a dub root folder if there was no dub root folder inside the plugin. So let's back up to that. Probably should not have created a folder yet because it hasn't been configured yet. Well, let's back up just a smidge here. So first, here, handle uploaded plugin, right? New zip archive, read the manifest, validate the manifest. And add the logging. Now when it saves it, extract and install here. It created, right there it is, saving the file. Create the plugins folder if it isn't already there. Create the dub root folder if it doesn't exist. Well, the plugins dub root folder. That one. No. So that's if there's web content. So if there is no web content, don't do that. Let's see what Copilot has to say for us. I don't feel like trying to figure this out. You do it. That wasn't it. That wasn't what I wanted to do. Conditionally create the plugin root folder if there are contents in the zip archive in the web folder. See if it can figure that out. Well, it's GPTing, and you're not letting me scroll here. Has web content, archive entries, any entry full name starts with web. Yep. If it does, plug in dub root folder. Cool. Do that. So there we go. Okay, that worked. It shouldn't have moved the files. So this won't get hit. What doesn't it like about these? Archive is down here. So this should be here. Okay. Where else is entry stream? Oh, down in here. Why wasn't that a problem before? These are duplicated. I think Copilot screwed up. I think that's right now. Yeah. Yeah, it looked like it duped code. Yeah. Okay, so that'll prevent creating the web folder. Right? So I can, let's delete this. We still need to figure out why that didn't load. So I'm going to delete over here as well. Okay. So I have a little bit more around that. I need to... I don't want to create the folders just yet for the file system. Okay, so after it does the extract and install, right? It extracts and installs. Gets the plugin assembly, registers with service locator. This is probably where I'm missing a bit to register the configuration. But I thought I was already down into here. So this is doing the registration. Else if it's a SharpSite configuration section, add it. Let's put a break there and see what we can find. And I'm probably going to wrap up right after I finish this. A little bit of debugging and leave it parked here so that we can come back to it next time. Here's what I'm looking at for my schedule going forward, starting here in January. I'm looking at going back to streaming daily. But instead of being long 4 or 5 hour, 6 hour streams, it'll be 2 hours every morning. So we'll get in, we'll do something, and we'll get out. So this is my first theme plugin. No. Okay, log in. I wish it had remembered. But hey, we can't all be perfect. Even if I say remember me, does it actually do the remembering? Where was I? Down here. Plugin management. Let's go add the new plugin. There it is. It didn't go down into there at all. It didn't do that at all. Same start time. I might start a little bit earlier. I need to tinker with that. We'll see. We'll see. So, shorter format to get us more focused, more, which means also I'm going to turn down some questions that we get. I'm not going to jump out into a free-form 1 hour AMA. 15 minutes up front and then go and spend an hour and a half writing code. There's definitely something missing here. I'm not going to be able to, am I going to be able to re-add it? What happens if I try to add it again? Boof. It didn't even step into here. After it did extract and install, it didn't. I don't have the DLL named right. Right, it's looking for sharpsite.filesystemplugin.dll. That's not what it's called. Okay. Let's rebuild the package, re-upload, and get the thing to do the thing. So let's delete this. Right, dub root should not have, yep, it does not have the other folder. But our file system plugin isn't there. Over here to the artifacts. Let's rebuild this. I need to change the name of this. Right, we called it SharpSite File System Plugin. Okay. This. Copy that. Delete it. Compress to zip file. There's the name of it. Yep. Let's try re-uploading. Wednesday squirrel stream? No. And I did have a little bit of a idea to stream in the evening, my time, so that West Coast folks would be able to catch the stream at a time when they're awake. I'm not sure that that's a thing I want to do. So, SharpSite File System Plugin. Right, so it should find that. Developers. Right, did it? 6 types in there. Thank you for the follow. Yep, it found it. There's the file system configuration section. Adds the configuration. Didn't save the configuration. Right, after it added that there, look at that, file system storage is now showing up there. Oops. Okay. We got a important piece working there. Oh my. Indeed. Not set theme. We're gonna do app state save though. Really? And we should await that. Oh no. Well, this is called in 2 places. That's when saving a plugin. So here I can do app state save. And then it should update that. Yeah, boom indeed, right? Let me save where I am right now. That was a little bit slow, not gonna lie. SharpSite web components admin. I'm not going to add the artifacts for the file system plugin. Completed loading plugins with configuration. So now that's available out there, and you can catch up. This is right. We're going through a pretty complex bit of code on this, but you can see what I'm working on right here in this pull request, introducing a file storage plugin. And you can see each one of the steps that I've gone through as we've been building this, and you can see it's even rebuilding it on the GitHub action right now to verify that it works. There's more to do here. This is taking a little bit longer because it's becoming more complex. That's right, the online browser platform. Don't forget the online browser platform. It's very important that you work on the online browser platform. The IEEE calls it that, and that's all that you need to know. Trust in the IEEE and their online browser platform. So we have this uploading. It's extracting, it's putting the plugin down in the right place. It's got things set up. It's registering the configuration. Now we need to tweak the configuration UI so that it works properly. And we're going to get into that. I think we'll get into that next week because I'm seeing a lot of interest in doing more with the AI bot, and I want to do that tomorrow. So let me wrap things up here. I want to spend some time this afternoon recording a couple videos introducing what SharpSite is, showing some of the interesting things in it, and particularly I want to go in and talk about some of the localization bits that we're doing and put together a handful of videos that show off those features because I think it's really interesting and it's something that folks who are working with ASP.NET, .NET in general, but particularly ASP.NET and web development with C#, they don't respect enough to make in making their applications something that's globally accessible by folks outside of their current culture. So that means localizing things so the numbers and dates appear the way that folks expect them to appear, and also providing some basic translation capabilities. We've already built some translation that works with OpenAI to generate some context-aware translations. Really cool feature that we built for that. The source code for that is available on my GitHub. We'll tweak it, tune it, improve that, and hopefully roll that in as a GitHub action in the future. We spent some time today looking at the hat detection AI that we were playing with last time. It works so much better now, and quite frankly, we don't need to train it so that it knows about all of my different hats. When it has a good picture of one of my hats, it output a really nice description and gave a nice name for the hat that it detected. So I really, really like how that works. And tomorrow, we'll spend some time getting that rolled into the existing chatbot that's running in channel so that going forward, we're using OpenAI to detect and report on my hats. Thank you so much for joining me today. Whether you're watching on YouTube, you're watching the recording, you're watching on Twitch, make sure you check out SharpSite. It's an open source project that you can contribute to, you can ask questions about, we can improve together. All of the code is freely available. I want you to take a look at it and learn from it. And I'm going to start, and that's what I'm doing right after this. I'm going to record some videos that teach from SharpSite and show the features of it so that folks can learn from it. As it grows and becomes something hopefully that folks use, it'll become even more of a teaching tool and learning framework that folks can use to build websites and build their careers. Let me see who else is streaming on the big Twitch TV network, who I can get you connected to. Out there, SharpSite Company went, oh, not for a while. Whoa, we're nowhere near there yet. Let me see. Let me get you connected to... you know what? I mentioned her earlier. Let's go raid our friend Lana Lux. Thank you so much for joining me. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow, same time, 9 a.m. Eastern. What is that? 1 p.m. No, noon UTC, right? I think that's where we are. Thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, tomorrow we'll get in, we'll do more with the bot, tuning, doing some more AI work, and moving that forward. All right? Have a fantastic rest of your day, wherever you might be. Take care. I wish you good health and good coding.